Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2025 Upper Manhattan Real Estate Report by Harlem Lofts. I'm Robb. We're going to break this into our report came out today, early this morning, and that's our Upper Manhattan Real Estate Report we've been doing for over 15 years. We've now, starting last year, we're dividing it into two sections. The first section we're going to go over in this video, which is townhouses. The second section will be the condominium report. We've been focusing on Upper Manhattan townhouses and condominiums. We've even developed condominiums back in the beginning since 2002. So we've been around quite a while. We have the sales team. I'll let Gareth introduce our sales team here to you.
Yeah, so Rob is the broker here. I run the research team and I'm licensed. Vestar is licensed also and is a marketing person. And then we have Jem and Sai, administrator and social media.
All right. Engagement. Right now we have 5,000, pushing 5,000 buyers in our database. So when you come to Harlem Lofts and you list your townhouse for sale or your condominium, we have 5,000 buyers in our database that have been looking, and it's a proprietary database that's been around forever. It keeps evolving. We have a big presence on YouTube right now. Hopefully you're watching that here. And Sai has taken us to another level in social media to help us move properties more efficiently. So that's areas that we've improved in 2024 and will continue in 2025. Right now, we're going to get into the townhouse market analysis. And what we're going to do is focus on the same zip codes that we do for condominiums. This is Central Park in green in the middle. These are all the zip codes, the 12 zip codes above Central Park. That is our core focus for both townhouses and condominiums. The type of properties when it comes to townhouses that we focus on are not the big buildings, not the mixed use buildings, although we do a few small mixed use. We focus on 1 and 2 family homes. We consider those residential. You'll see this in our report. They'll be color coded as such. 3 family and up, we consider those investment properties. And then the SRO, single room occupancies, which are very prevalent in Upper Manhattan. In townhouse sales, we're getting into the numbers. I can tell you that 2024, when you in it seemed like it wasn't a great year and it didn't have a lot of improvements. But looking at Gareth's research team, what they put together here, it looks like 2024 wasn't as bad as I thought. Now that I get my head out of the sand, Gareth, What are the details on that?
So 2024 turned out to be a fairly kind of average year, and you'll see that in the next couple of slides. We saw 81 fair market value sales versus 65 in 2023, which was not a great year due to interest rates. We saw $160 million spent versus $117 million in 2023. That's a 37% increase, although 2023 was not a good year. So following COVID, we saw a market rebound in 2021, and then interest rates hit the market in 2022 and impacted the market in the second half of the year. That led to competition and decreased prices, and the increased competition, decreased prices, and then latterly decreasing interest rates have led to market recovery, which is continuing now. Okay, let's go over that in a bit more detail. You can see number of sales on the left, sales volume, that's the total dollars spent on the right, and these run from 2018 to 2024, both charts. You can see 2020, so averages 2018, 2019, 90 sales, 88 sales, COVID, 61 sales, unsurprisingly, and then the rebound in 2021, 100 sales, the middle bar here, and then by 2023, interest rates had impacted the market. We were back down to 65 sales, and 2024, our recovery, as mentioned, back to 81 sales.
Hey, Gareth, but you'll see later in Gareth's research, what's surprising, you see these numbers where COVID was down, but prices during COVID did not change, right, unlike what we just went through.
Good point, Rob. So if you look at the number of sales in 2023, it was 65, 2020 it was 61, but the amount of money spent, 2023, it was $116.6 million versus nearly $133 million in 2020. So the number of sales was slightly greater in 2023 than in 2020. The total dollars spent was less because prices came down. Okay, and you can see that here. The left-hand chart is the average price paid per townhouse sale. The right-hand graph is the price per square foot. And you can see that prices were pretty stable from 2018 through 2022, including during COVID. But then they came down by between 15 and 20% across the board in 2023, and they're now starting to recover as the market begins to take off once again. Okay, and let's look at prices and price per square foot by property class. You can see that the left-hand chart, residential properties are in blue. This is sales price from April 22 to December 24. Starting in mid-2022, residential prices started to come down, rental investment prices started to come down, SRO prices remain fairly stable. The residential and rental investment property prices have started to recover now. So the initial decrease was caused by increasing interest rates. Those are the properties that are higher priced. Therefore, they're more susceptible to mortgage rate fluctuations. And as prices came down and interest rates came down, mortgages became more affordable. Prices of residential and rental investment properties have started to increase once again. If we look at going forward, once again, blue is residential, grey is rental investment, purple is SROs. You can see this is market share by class from 2018 through 2024. You can see in 2022, 2023, the market share of residential properties came down. Once again, they are susceptible to mortgage rate fluctuations, and now that market share is starting to recover. Okay, so the previous slides have showed market history, the sale number and price, but what we're interested in and what you're probably interested in as viewers is where is the market now and where's it going to go? So Rob, we're going to kind of jump into this now, and I know that you have some comments for your market outlook at the end of this presentation. So yeah, let's get straight into it. In 2022, as interest rates went up, inventory increased as the market stagnated. In response to that, sellers began to discount by about 15 to 20% of original price. That, combined with interest rates starting to come down, has led to more listings going into contract, and the market is beginning to recover, and in fact has been recovering for about, I think, 6 to 12 months, and it's improving. Okay, so let's look at inventory. This chart is townhouse inventory from April 2020 through December 2024. Currently at 77 properties on the market. It's currently at a seasonal low. That's normal for this time of the year. We expect inventory to increase substantially in March as sellers come back to market, knowing that the market's going to be active, and we expect the market to be very active this spring.
And Gareth, we talked about it earlier before the video, but the 43% here that you show, people that are discounting their properties, keep in mind when people are pulling, when the sellers are pulling 20, 25 properties off for the last couple of months, the decreased inventory affects the amount of discounts that you see.
Yeah.
Because they're just pulling them off rather than discounting them. So I think that would be that would certainly be a lot higher, probably in 70% if those were left on the market.
Right, Rob. So this chart shows the percentage of listings with discounts. You can see that post-COVID, the number of listings discounting came down below 30%. As interest rates went up, competition went up, percentage of properties offering discounts increased. It's dropping slightly as the market improves. It's currently at 43% of listed properties, and that's due to, firstly, new properties going on the market at the lower prices. Properties that have been on the market and have been discounted have been pulled off. So those, we're dealing with more than one factor contributing to that kind of aggregate percentage.
Yeah, one clarification. The 43% are properties that are discounting in the last 30 days. Do you have an aggregate of, I think
No, that's the percentage of properties that have been discounted since they were listed, Rob. So
gotcha. Okay, all right.
So that includes the ones that have been on the market for 6 months and they've realized that they're not going to sell at the price that they were listed at, and the sellers have discounted the properties sometimes up to 2 or 3 times. Okay, if we look at how discounts and reduced interest rates have impacted the number of properties going into contract, this chart shows the number of properties in contract by time from April 2020 through December 2024. You can see a low, I think, of 4 properties at the end of 2022 in response to higher interest rates. As discounts have occurred and as interest rates have started to come down, the number of properties in contract has gradually risen. It's currently standing at 19. So let's now look at kind of market share. So these 3 charts show you the listings on the market on the left and properties in contract center, and the number of sales on the right by price. Pale blue is less than $2 million. Mid blue is 2 to 3. Dark blue is 3 to 4. And the purple is above $4 million. And you can see, especially the in contract and sale properties, or the sold properties, of the 19 properties currently in contract, 95% of them are priced below $3 million. And the sales, 89% sold below $3 million, especially 48 out of 72 sold below $2 million. So until the market really gets back into the swing of things, the lower end of the market's dominating listings, and especially the properties going into contract and the ones that are selling. Okay, and let's now finally, in the Townhouse section of data, let's look at turnover. That's the percentage of listings that are selling in any given month. This chart tends to jump around because we're dealing with this fairly small number of data points here, but fairly small number of data entries, and that means that any changes will lead to the chart kind of jumping around. But in general,
also known as attrition, right? This is
exactly right.
Yeah.
So you can see that, starting once again at the start of 2023, the turnover has gradually been rising. That yes, it's jumped up and down, but the trend overall, I think it's pretty clear, is positive. Currently stands at 9.1%. Okay, so let's summarize. The townhouse market faced higher interest rates in 2022 to 23. That led to discounts, which began to fuel market recovery, especially in listings below $3 million. We are seeing the market normalizing, more properties going into contract, and that's been accelerated by decreasing interest rates in the past 6 months. Okay, so I'm going to hand off to Rob for his outlook here, and I think it's an interesting time to be kind of looking at the market.
Well, I think it's pretty clear if you listen to this and look at the charts. There's a couple surprises. There's the amount of properties that are going into contract right now, and that's because the buyers have lowered, or the sellers have lowered their price, and the interest rates and everything that Gareth talked about. What is surprising to me, I think you're going to see a 25 to 30% increase in inventory in the next 6 to 7 weeks. So you're going to be right at 100 properties, or a few over 100. You're going to see them coming out of the gates at a higher price. We've already seen that, about 8 to 10% higher than they're selling for. And that's because everyone is feeling that the market is coming back in the spring, and I do believe that it will. Very different from the condo market, which we'll talk about separately. The townhouse market, I think, is poised for a real comeback here. And then one thing that I notice is the properties that have been non-existent as far as sales for the past couple of years since this interest rate debacle is the 4 million plus. And what's happening now, we have 5,000 buyers in our database, 2,000 of those are for townhouses. These properties are being put on the market and selling faster, even though there's fewer than the ones that you see priced 2 and 3 million and below. And the reason being is because these pinup buyers are waiting, and they know this is the time to buy. They know this is the time to get a trophy property. They're coming to agencies like us and say, before you put it on the market, why don't you show us these trophy properties? We're waiting. And they're selling before they hit the market. So once you see them hit the market, they're technically behind the scenes already in contract, or an agreement's already been made. So if you're looking for a trophy property, work with a broker that has inventory coming up and is very organized and can introduce these trophy properties to you rather than letting them hit the market.
Okay.
They're selling quickly.
Okay, so that's the end of the townhouse video. Thank you very much for your time. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with the condo video.
All right.
Very good.
See you in a minute.